Flash Live, Greater West Bloomfield's only local morning show, giving you exclusive access to people, businesses, and events in your community. I'm your host, Maddie Mustion. We're live daily weekdays at 9:30. Before we dive into today's show, every week we highlight someone, an educator, student, business, or organization from Greater West Bloomfield going above and beyond. If you would like to submit an entry for someone, you can scan the QR code on the screen and fill out the Google form with the person's name, their contact information, and reasons that they should be recognized for the Person of the Week. Now let's go check out what's going on in our Greater West Bloomfield community. Our first event that we like to feature is the West Bloomfield Township Public Library and their virtual events that they have started. This includes a variety of interactive events for all ages. Some of those events this week, today they have their 9:30 and 11 a.m. Positively Preschool classes, as well as their 7 p.m. Evening with More Tolls that is sponsored by the Friends of the Library. Well, he will talk about his new book, The Lincoln Highway. On Wednesday, they are holding their 10:30 a.m. Terrific Tots program, and on Thursday, they have their 7 p.m. discussion diving deep into the Holocaust called How Could This Happen? The Escalation of Hate During the Holocaust. If you would like to register for any of these events, you can do so by going to the West Bloomfield Township Public Library website in their events calendar page and register by clicking on those events. Our next event is by West Bloomfield Parks. They are working with the West Bloomfield Diversity Task Force to begin a free new event to celebrate Black History Month. They have Black History 101 Museum. This event is open for all ages. It is going to be happening on Saturday, February 5th from noon until 3 p.m. at the library. Founded by Dr. Khalid Al-Hakim, the Black History 101 Mobile Museum is an award-winning collection of original artifacts of Black memorabilia dating from the transatlantic slave trade era and spanning to current hip-hop culture. They'll be having a special lecture and exhibition at 10 a.m. Our last event that we want to look at is the Sylvan Lake Game Night event. This event is perfect if you're looking for something fun to do this winter. Whether you go alone or with some friends, the Sylvan Lake Game Nights are a great way to socialize safely with your neighbors and friends. Sylvan Lake Game Nights take place every Wednesday when there is not a Sylvan Lake board meeting in the community center. Game night starts at 5:30 p.m. and will go to about 9 p.m. at the community center. This event is open to all Sylvan Lake residents, and you are welcome to bring any family and friends as you wish. If you have an event that you would like us to feature, you can send us a message on our social media pages at Civic Center TV and Facebook at Civic Center TV 15. Coming up, I'll be talking with Kay McMahon about her position as Life Enrichment Director at the Avalon of Commerce Township here in Greater West Bloomfield. But before that, the pandemic has impacted each person and business greatly here in the Greater West Bloomfield community. And over the past weeks, we have gotten to ask local business owners how the pandemic has specifically impacted them. Let's go see what they had to say. With 2022 in full swing, the pandemic has impacted the local Greater West Bloomfield community for almost 2 years now. We asked local business owners to describe how they have been impacted throughout the pandemic.
Pandemic obviously affected all industries, all professions. It affected chiropractic a little bit differently than every other profession because we're hands-on. There's no working virtually. There's no telehealth. There's no phone it in. We're an in-person, hands-on profession. So when the pandemic first started, we definitely noticed and we had to make some changes in how we were sanitizing the office, changes in our flow of patients through the office, limiting the amount of people in at a time. And since things have initially started to go back to normal and now started heading back into the pandemic protocols, we've been seeing a very different type of patient. Where our office was traditionally people with musculoskeletal pain, spinal pain, and then people for maintenance and wellness that wanted to maintain their spinal health, keep the spine healthy proactively. What we've noticed over the last year and a half, 2 years, is a very different type of patients. We've been seeing a lot more kids, a lot more adolescents because they were going to school from home.
So we transitioned from being a bricks and mortar store to online during the pandemic, and it gave us an opportunity to be doing a lot of virtual stuff with our customers and be able to still have that personal touch and that personal guidance for accessorizing, but to being able to do it virtually gives us another area to expand to other clientele. A lot of our customers actually in the area moved out of state, so being online gives them quick access for that, and then all our social media with Instagram and Facebook gives us opportunities to be able to reach new opportunities.
I think for most businesses. For us, the event part of our business was in fact shut down for a large portion of 2020. And it's also shown how we've had to change a lot on the plant side of our business too. So I'd say that we're not going to fully know what the shakeup's going to be for a little while further, but it definitely changes the way that we think about investment. It changes on how we deliver products to our customers, and it also changes our assumptions as to what the future might be.
I would say the biggest thing for me is my ability to work with people without being in the same room. I have lots of clients that either are fitness or coaching in some way that we work through virtual. It's still one-on-one, it's very personal. You can be anywhere in the world to do the fitness training. It's safe and wonderful, and it makes a lot of sense for people. That door has been opened and has stayed open since day one of the pandemic, and people are really leveraging the idea of being on the phone or virtual as one other way of getting themselves where they need and want to be on their terms.
We wish those local business owners that have been affected by COVID-19 the best as they head into 2022. Reporting for The Splash Live, I'm Maddie Mustion. Thank you to all those business owners here in Greater West Bloomfield that shared with us how the COVID-19 pandemic has impacted their business. A staple serving quality meat and other products here is located in Sylvan Lake, and we got an inside look into the store and journey. But before that, we'll be joined by Kay McMahon, Life Enrichment Director for the Avalon of Commerce Township. All that and more after this short break.
We'll be right back with The Splash Live.
When it comes to making plans, you are the best. What about those barbecues you plan in detail for your family? Or your daughter's first costume party? It was out of this world. The same way you plan each detail for those moments, start planning to protect you and your loved ones from a natural disaster. Sign up for local weather and emergency alerts. Prepare an emergency kit and make a family communications plan. Protecting your family is the best plan you can make.
And now, back to The Splash Live.
Welcome back to The Splash Live. I'm Maddie Mustion. It is now time to talk with Kay McMahon. She is the Life Enrichment Director for the Avalon of Commerce Township. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, Kay.
Hi, Maddie. Thank you so much for having me.
Kay, can you start off by explaining your role at the Avalon and how you work to impact your residents there?
Of course. I've been with the Avalon of Commerce Township for about 2 years in June. I'm the Life Enrichment Director, so I'm responsible for the livelihood of the community, creating activities and engaging events to bring people together, which has been quite difficult during the pandemic, of course, when we're easily encouraged to keep everybody apart. We've definitely had to find creative ways to go about getting everybody to stay connected, and to continue to make aging creative in a pandemic has been interesting, especially with all the protocol in place. But we definitely find a way to make it purposeful and individual and keep our activities coming out safely and responsibly.
Kay, in a day-to-day, what types of tasks and responsibilities do you work on at the Avalon and Commerce Township?
Aside from creating a booming schedule of events and making sure that our little cohorts of families and community members here are safe, I'm responsible for putting out a calendar activities that reflect the livelihood of the community, which encompass every topic from spirituality to physical well-being, purposeful living, intellectual vitality, and then of course your fun, social, engaging things that we just can't break away from, like bingo and happy hour and a good old Elvis impersonator.
Kay, how have you seen the ongoing pandemic impact your role at the Avalon?
It's been absolutely unique. The pandemic, like I said, I've been in a community for about 2 years now. I come from generally running a senior center out in municipality type areas, but I saw the need in assisted living once the pandemic hit, especially when we're so close together and forced to stay apart. We've had to get creative by utilizing carts, doing things in the hallway, maybe at our doorways where we're in smaller groups, hallway fitness. It's been hard with the masking, the keeping of the distance, all the protocol that's in place for precautionary measures, but there's still a need for purpose for these residents and for senior citizens who are aging. And I try very hard to still have that same bubble-hearted attitude and go and greet with grace and knock on doors. And, you know, kind of the biggest thing for a life enrichment director, I think, during a public health crisis is the overall morale. I know there's a lot of people focused on the health and the precautions and the things like that, but I think it's also very vital at this time to have someone who's focused on the happy and who's focused on the growth that we can come out of in this and finding creative ways to age in place. And I think that with all the protocol and the differences we've seen in the pandemic impacting my role, I think more than anything, it's really challenged me to rise to the occasion.
With the ongoing pandemic and your role as the Life Enrichment Director there at the Avalon, what types of fun things do you guys have in store for those residents, either for the rest of this month or going into the rest of the year?
Yeah, so going into the rest of the year, we have a very big focus on getting out of our apartments, getting out of our community, and actually getting out of our apartments and into our community and maximizing the spaces that we have that long ago we used to, you know, have our family members booming down the halls and being able to visit freely. We're looking forward to those things, but in the coming month of February, we're looking forward to having, like I mentioned earlier, our Elvis impersonator coming in, and we have a high tea scheduled with Brighton Hospice alongside live music and happy hour. We haven't seen that in a little bit, so it's been nice to hear that booming through our halls again, and you can hear the anticipation for all the oncoming Valentine's things that we have planned, so it's been great.
Kay, for you personally, how has your role as a Life Enrichment Director there at the Avalon impacted you, especially you talked about your bubbly personality throughout the ongoing pandemic. Can you give us a little bit of an insight into how your role has impacted you personally?
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a monumental impact on a personal level. I strive very hard to keep people connected with their loved ones in a time where there's no other outlet for that. And it's been very, you know, there's been days where it's been hard to hold the hands of loved ones, which family members cannot, to run into the fire when other people seem to be running out. It's a lot on your shoulders, but I feel like when you're called to do it, you know, and I think that right now, all of these people and all of these older adults, they really do need just that bubbly, lighthearted, you know, whiff in the wind. And I'm happy to be here and learn that that's needed.
Okay, as we wrap up, is there anything else you'd like to share either about your role as a Life Enrichment Director or about life at the Avalon?
Yeah, absolutely. One more thing. So we're still thriving and we're ready to get out there and we're fully ready for all of our activities in the year to come, and we're hiring on our enrichment team. So if you feel called to do this too, feel free to reach out to me.
Thank you so much for joining us this morning, Kay.
Of course. Have a great day.
Thank you, you too. Once again, I was joined by Life Enrichment Director for the Avalon of Commerce Township, Kay McMahon. Coming up, we'll be talking with Annette Rogers about her position at Townhall Place of West Bloomfield. But before that, the Butchery off Orchard Lake Road has been a staple in town for years, serving quality meats and sweets. Co-owner David Hubbard Jr. and Julie Hack Hubbard have been serving the Sylvan Lake community, and our own Splash reporter Brendan Schreiber talked with them about their business.
What's going on, West Bloomfield? Looking for a local place to get your meat fix? Well, we found the place for you.
Welcome to the Butchery, located on Orchard Lake Road in Sylvan Lake.
Here at The Splash, we talked with the market's owner, David Hubbard, about his outstanding business.
The Butchery is a full-service meat market. We offer everything from Wagyu beef, USDA prime beef, chicken, Amish raised, local pork, all raised local, non-hormones, no GMO, everything's all natural. Full 55 feet of case here, as well as we do some killer sandwiches made to order when you come in. We do a lot of catering, and we got some beer and wine. It's kind of a basic meat market that has some of the accoutrement that would go with it here as well.
During our interview, David also went on to tell us a little more about the market's history.
Well, we opened in 2017 wanting just to be a meat market. The area needed something. Maybe a grocery store would have been what they really wanted, but that's not really where we wanted to go as far as what we opened. We were both, my wife and I are both culinarians, so we started out in the culinary world as far as chefs. And we wanted to open up something that was food related, but the restaurant business wasn't for us. We had two young kids, and having them and the late nights of the restaurant thing wasn't going to be for us. So we opened something that would be more conducive to a daytime, but it would also give us the opportunity to be around food. And I'd cut meat when I was younger, and it's something that I really, really enjoyed. So that's kind of we gravitated back towards the meat market.
Finally, we asked what could be expected from the Butchery in 2022.
Our goal going into 2022 and beyond is to just, expand our reach as far as people knowing that we're here and let people know this awesome stuff that we have. We feature a lot of local vendors, a lot of local produce mongers, people that can really help us move that whole closer's better kind of thing. Wherever we deal with folks from Sprout and Pontiac, so we bring in farmers that are local and pork, same thing. So we try to work with people like that. So in 2022, I think if we could continue to move in that direction to tighten that community, because if COVID taught us anything, it's the closer the community, the better off you'll be. If you're spread out, it's very tough,
For all your meats, eats, and treats, check out the Butchery, located on Orchard Lake Road in Sylvan Lake. Reporting for The Splash, I'm Brendan Schreiber.
Thank you to David and Julie Hubbard for giving us an inside look into the Butchery in Sylvan Lake. We're going to take a short break, but when we get back, we'll be joined by Annette Rogers, Community Relations Director at Townhall Place of West Bloomfield, to talk about their different assisted living facilities and advice on transitioning into assisted living.
We'll be right back with The Splash Live.
In the face of COVID-19, staying healthy is important. And now the same is true as we face the flu. Influenza has the potential to infect millions, putting lives and the healthcare system at risk. Fortunately, it's easy to protect yourself. The flu vaccine is safe and effective, and with COVID-19 still spreading, it's essential. To see how you can hit this virus head-on, visit michigan.gov/flu.
Can I ask you a question? Why do you want to get the COVID-19 vaccine?
I don't like getting sick. The virus will die. It will be easy to not catch it. Keep my family safe and keep playing soccer. Because I love being vaccinated.
What's your hope for everyone?
I hope everybody gets the vaccine to keep safe and strong. Be like happy, having fun everywhere. Everyone stay safe and hope you get the vaccine.
And now, back to The Splash Live.
Welcome back to The Splash Live. I'm your host, Maddie Mustion. Every week we highlight someone from our greater West Bloomfield community who is making an impact here, whether they are educators, students, local businesses, or any other organization here in greater West Bloomfield. We want to make sure we highlight those people that are making an impact. If you have someone that you want to be highlighted here on The Splash Live, you can go ahead and scan the QR code on the screen. It is a short Google form with the person's name, reason they should be recognized, and some contact information for them. So if you think of someone that you want to be highlighted here on The Splash Live for a Person of the Week, you can go ahead and do that now. We're going to take a short break, but when we get back, we'll be talking with Annette Rogers. She is the Community Relations Director for Town Place Hall in West Bloomfield. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back and talk to Annette.
We'll be right back with The Splash Live.
This message brought to you by FEMA. Home fires occur most often in winter. Keep anything that can catch fire at least 3 feet from heating equipment. And never use an oven to heat your home. Stay in the kitchen when frying, grilling, or broiling food. Turn space heaters off when you leave the room or go to bed. Make sure all vents are clear of snow and ice to allow carbon monoxide to vent outside. Have your furnace, heating system, and chimneys serviced each year by a qualified professional. Learn more at www.usfa.fema.gov.
11 teens a day die from texting and driving. Don't text and drive.
And now, back to The Splash Live.
Welcome back to The Splash Live. I'm Maddie Mustion. We are now joined by Annette Rogers. She is the Community Relations Director for Town Place of West Bloomfield. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, Annette.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Annette, can you start off by explaining a little bit more in depth about your position as the Community Relations Director at Townhall Place of West Bloomfield?
Yes. So as the Community Relations Director, my job here is primarily sales and marketing. I'm basically the Sales and Marketing Director. It is my job to make sure that our census is that the building is full and we have a high census. I am the revenue driver of this community. My position is very important. If our census is low and we don't have the revenue, that means that it can also impact things like employment, hiring new staff, making sure that we have enough caregivers. We are always staffed accordingly, but of course, the better our census, the higher the revenue, the more people we can employ, which always helps the outer community as well. I do all the marketing for the building, making sure that everyone in the area and surrounding cities know who we are, what we provide here at Townhall Place, senior living, and that's primarily what I do.
And that you are an expert on some of those services and facilities at Townhall Place. Can you give us a little bit more in depth about what one would be interested in when looking into assisted living homes, specifically at Town Place Hall of West Bloomfield?
Yes, it's Townhall Place, and I want to talk a little bit, just real briefly, and then answer your question about the name. This used to be called Regent Street, and a lot of people in the area remember Regent Street and have been here for quite some time. When there was a rebranding done, the name was changed. A new management company came in, took over, changed the name to Townhall Place, because this was the original town hall of West Bloomfield. This is the original municipal building where the police station was, where the courtroom was. People paid their taxes here. Now, what people can answer your question, what people can look for, or what they should look for in an assisted living is there's an education that I always that I have with people when I'm meeting with them. A lot of times people think independent living, assisted living, memory care, nursing home, and for some, it's kind of like a blur. It's all the same, or they don't know really the difference, that there's a fine line between each area. So in an assisted living community, you're looking for a place where you can have assistance with your activities of daily living. We call them in short ADLs. So this is someone that may need assistance with remembering to take their medications, someone that may need assistance with bathing. Maybe they can bathe themselves, but they'd like to have some standby shower assistance, or maybe they just can't bathe themselves at all and they need a caregiver to assist them with maintaining their hygiene. Someone who may need assistance with getting dressed. They may be able to dress themselves, but they don't always remember that these are the clothes you wore yesterday, and today you need on a new set of clothing. So sometimes just laying out their clothes for them and assisting them with buttons and things like that. And for some people, they may not have the physical ability to dress themselves. So we have caregivers that can provide those needs as well. So we actually do provide quite a bit of care. Excuse me. We do. assistance always. So we actually do provide a ton of care for residents, everyone from very independent all the way through totally bedridden. I have a young lady who lives here right now. She's been here for several years. She has MS and she's bedridden. We have to do everything for her. The only thing that she is capable of doing is she can feed herself, and we provide all the meals. And living in an assisted living, you never have to worry about cooking. We provide 3 meals per day. Transportation is free within a 10-mile radius. We pay all of the utilities except for the cable. We use DirecTV. It's $30 a month, but you get up to 100 channels. We also include an emergency pendant in the monthly rent. Housekeeping is included. Someone's going to deep clean your apartment every week. We also include your laundry. You never have to worry about doing any laundry, personal clothing, towels, linens, or anything. If someone, and we provide other services, incontinence care. We can work with catheters. It's just a ton of things that you can have here, because we want people to maintain as much of their independence as possible, but understanding that sometimes there are challenges that they face with those activities of daily living, and that's what we're here for.
Annette, when you have those initial conversations with either a potential resident or a loved one for a potential resident, what type of advice do you give them when looking to have a residency at Townhall Place of West Bloomfield?
Most people, when they shop around, they look at 2 or 3 different communities. I have a form that I always give them, and it kind of gives them a few things to look for. You're always going to look for the cleanliness of the community when you first walk through the door. How does it look? How does it smell? You're going to check out the staff. Like, look at the staff. How is the staff? What's their appearance? Are they well groomed? And what's their demeanor? Are they friendly? Do they greet the residents by name? Do they, is there a relationship there? When you come in here, we're all, we're like one big family. So as I'm walking down the hall on a tour, I'm greeting the residents by name. Other staff are doing the same. They're talking to the residents. We're like a family here, and our residents are very involved. And when they see me on the tour, they want to come up and talk and tell about their experience. I love it here, things like that. I always tell families to look for that, and to also not be afraid to ask questions. Who's available to you when you're doing your tour? When you come here to Townhall Place, my nurse is always available. I always make sure that she's aware that I have a tour if it's pre-scheduled. If it's not and someone just walks in, I give her a call and tell her, hey, I'm about to go on a tour. Can you come down and give me 5 minutes? Because a lot of times, 9 times out of 10, when someone's looking at assisted living, they need care. And that's what they really want to know about. I am not a nurse. I'm not a medical professional, but I want to make sure that I have one available to answer all of their questions and to give them all the information that they need to make an informed decision. We do things like sliding scale insulin, 2-person assist. We have residents here that use Hoyer lifts. They didn't come in with a Hoyer, but they progressed into one. This is a community where you can age in place. And I make sure that people understand what is available to them. We all make sure of that. When they talk, regardless of who they talk to on my team, I try to make sure my entire team is available to talk to people. It's just making sure that I educate them. The biggest part of that is listening. So I take time to listen. I don't walk you in and rush you through and show you what I want to show you and tell you, my building is so beautiful, you're just going to love it here, and then send you out the door. I give you time to really open up and tell me exactly what's going on with yourself or your loved one, whomever it is that you're looking for, so that I can give you the best information available to me. And if I don't have the answer for you, I will find out. If there are services that we don't provide, I'm not going to improvise or lie or tell you that we can do something that we can't. I don't want to set anyone up for failure. That's not what we do here. We run a very honest operation.
Thank you so much for joining us this morning, Annette.
Thank you.
Once again, I was joined by Annette Rogers from Town Place Hall of West Bloomfield. For all of our friends in Orchard Lake, Sylvan Lake, Kiko Harbor, and West Bloomfield, I'm Maddie Mustion. Thank you for watching The Splash.
Afford your internet bills during the pandemic, there's a temporary government program that may be able to help. It's called the Emergency Broadband Benefit, and it provides up to a $50 monthly discount on your broadband bill to qualifying households. Find more information about the program, including if you qualify and how to enroll, at fcc.gov/broadbandbenefit or call toll-free at 833-511-0311.
A public service announcement from 89.3 Lakes FM.
We as Michiganders feel connected to this resource in a way that I think is really powerful.
Conservation starts with a caring, committed community.
For me, it's peaceful to have a relationship with the river.
Every single one of us has a role to make sure that those